Welcome to Voices of Tech and Litigation with your host, Ray Beken. This podcast will broaden your knowledge in the use of technology in business and our everyday world. You can find this show on all the major platforms, including YouTube, LinkedIn, Facebook, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and on our website, chorusconsulting.net. Now here's the host of Voices of Tech and Litigation, Ray Beken.
Hello, thanks for joining in. Appreciate everybody's time. Michelle, thanks for joining me today. Everybody, I'm pleased to have Michelle Drolet with me today. She is the founder and CEO of Towerwall. It would take me the entire program to go through her entire portfolio of accomplishments. However, I'll hit a couple highlights. She's published in tech magazines and Technology Council, Wired.com, I think a couple of more. She is a Woman in Security Forum Power 100 list recognized. She's a top 25 women in cybersecurity. She's received CEOs to watch, and I could go on, but let's welcome Michelle from Towerwall. Michelle, we'll just jump right in. I'm going to try to ask a fun question, open dialogue. What are some of the nefarious things happening in your world? What are the guys out there creating havoc as of today, and are some of the hot issues in IT?
Wow, that really jumped right in. Yeah, number one, Ray, always an honor and pleasure to be with you and work with you, and thank you. This is so exciting. Nefarious. So what we're seeing is that the dark web is darker than ever before. And not only did the dark web a while back, have ransomware as a service, now they have ransomware as a service, and people can rent it for less than, $250 for a week, but they can actually buy a list of who they want to attack. And then, oh, by the way, they can actually lease a person or a consultant to actually run their engagement, and there's help desk for them. So while the rules of engagement have changed from I got in trouble for saying this, but I'm going to say it anyway, the guys in the hoodies in the basement is no longer.
So there's a complete underground nefarious industry out there, and people are hiring these people through the dark web. Is that what you're saying?
I am, and it's a multi-trillion-dollar industry.
Wow. Well, given that fact, what are some of the, coolest engagements you've been involved in? Things that you go, wow, that was hard, or that was fun, or what are some of those types of engagements?
I don't know if I would call it fun. We do say that we walk alongside our customers on their cybersecurity journeys, and our claim to fame is the preparedness side of an incident. So, when we look at that, it's, what do our customers need to build to make sure that their blast radius, if something bad does happen, is limited, right? And so when we look at some of the stuff and things that we've worked with Chorus on, because we are not a forensics company, are things like man-in-the-middle attacks, where people don't understand because they click on something, and it could be very innocent, that the bad actors will sit inside somebody's organization for 280 plus days to go figure out who's who in the zoo, so to speak, and then launch different attacks, whether it's, exfiltrating money, We just recently had a client that took off their MDR solution on the inside and had $11 million exfiltrated from the CEO telling the CFO, then telling the CFO to the accounts payable to send X amount of dollars. And it was $11 million over 30 days. So that stuff is happening all the time.
Yeah. I like to tell people when they get an attachment or a link that they're not 100% expecting, don't click. That's kind of the advice I give. It's pretty hard to get some of these people that have never had a problem to understand how much of a problem it could be. So why would it be important then to help the C-suite and the board of directors of these companies to get on board and just kind of do some education, make people more aware?
Well, when we look at cyber risk, right, it's per organization, it's corporate culture, it's the C-suite who's deciding what their risk level is. Is it a high risk? Is it a low risk? And it hurts my heart a lot of times when I have CEOs tell me I don't have anything anybody wants. And that's just not true. It could be just their bandwidth. But what we're seeing is actually, or have been requested to actually go in and do C-suite training on cybersecurity so that they do understand what the threats are, what the bad actors are doing, what their responsibility is, and how to mitigate that risk, right? Because it's not on IT. It is a business decision moving forward. And so it's that user awareness from the C-suite perspective. We just finished one last week. It's also, I'm finding very helpful to, while we do the tabletop exercises for IT, but it's doing a tabletop exercise. What's an incident? How does a C-suite respond to an incident? Do they understand that they are at risk? That's one of the questions we ask. What do you think your level of risk is for, something really bad happening, your organization shutting down? A lot of times they'll say, oh, we're good. And by the end of the conversation, they're like, well, maybe not so much.
Yeah. Nobody's ever truly 100% good. It's just impossible. People are creating things to get around the blocking, and it's a never-ending process. Where does AI fit in IT in your view, with all the new AI softwares coming out, ChatGPT and all the other ones, coming out, machine learning and all that? Where's that fitting in IT security?
So, number one, AI has been around since I think it's 54. Correct me if I'm wrong, but a long, long time. But now it's really tactile to the end users, right? So free ChatGPT, paid for ChatGPT, Copilot, so many different programs that our end users and our customers are using. And so what does that look like? One of the first things that we ask when we're in a new conversation is, have you updated your acceptable use policy to include what your rules of engagement are for using AI? And a lot haven't. And what are the controls that you need to be putting in place? And what is the awareness component? And I think that's the biggest thing is with ChatGPT. If you put something out there, it's gone. It is now forever in the free marketplace. Even the paid for ChatGPT, all that does is remember what you put in yesterday. But if you're putting code in, if you're doing any of that type of stuff, it's gone because it is learned for somebody else. And so we just need to really be aware of what's acceptable use, and it's coming hard and fast. I mean, I use it for marketing activities and scripting different things, but it is against our corporate policy to put our statements of work, or certainly none of our reports, so that information is out there.
Yeah, I've heard of people in our industry using AI to actually create SOWs, new statements of work, and do things like that. So I guess you're saying that would be against a corporate use policy, according to you.
That would be because those statements of work are our intellectual property, so to speak, because it's the way that we build it, the way that we, have conceptualized, the way that we customize for each use case or different assessment for our clients. And once that's out there, it's gone.
Yeah. We've talked about a lot of nefarious stuff, right? So things are going on out there and you need to be careful. What about pen testing? How important is it? Penetration testing?
So depending on an organization's regulatory requirements, we suggest annual pen testing, and pen testing is a point in time. And so people will argue against that we need to do continuous pen testing with automated tools. But I think personally, our team of pen testers are very senior. And so they know that if they put this vulnerability and this vulnerability together, and maybe it's a medium and low, it can be critical for that specific organization. And that's not what a automated pen test tool is going to do. So we suggest annually, but we also want to build a vulnerability program. And I made up a word a long time ago, Ray, called progmatize. It is not real. It's not even in Wikipedia. But
repeat it.
Progmatize.
Progmatize. Okay.
So, and what I mean by that is that when we don't firefight from a cybersecurity perspective, it means we're going to win a lot of times against the bad actors. So if we know that we have a good, solid information security program, we know that where our data is, and we have a data classification program, we know that we have a vendor risk management program, we know that we have a vulnerability management program, so that we're doing external penetration tests. We're looking at our firewall rules. We're looking at our wireless. We're trying to open the doors by picking locks. All those different things, application penetration tests. Where are our strengths and where are our weaknesses? And if we can do that, then we've locked the doors and shut and locked the windows, so that if the bad guy's just coming by trying to poke, he's going to go to the next house.
Yeah, that's good. If you had a crystal ball, where is IT headed in your opinion? What else do you see happening out there? What improvements can we make? What do you think?
If I had a crystal ball, and we could actually do things that would make a difference, and not repeat like Einstein's theory, it would be patching. It would be user awareness. It would be looking at our technology stack and what is working and what's not working, and what are we actually using, and putting together a program of repeatable processes, so that, again, when that bad guy tries to batter down the door, they're not going to be able to do it, because then everybody's on board. Does that make sense? Oh yeah. I mean, I could go out but it's just standard practices, and it hurts me that we're still talking about the same things for a long time.
Yeah, over and over and over again, right? You and I companies we kind of have the same philosophy that you can't be a lone ranger. And so how important do you think partnerships is in working with other professionals in our industry to help you accomplish your goal and not try to do it all yourself? What's your philosophy on that?
So I have been the CEO of Towerwall since 1999. I have been with the original company since 1992. And I can tell you at the beginning, I would say, we can do that too, or we can do that. Now, it is not the case at all. Towerwall is the preparedness side of an incident. So we do GRC, we do pen testing or vulnerability management, and we resell technology. And we truly count on partnerships like Chorus, that when our customers, because it's could happen, it probably will happen, and that hurts me to say that too, that something bad's going to happen. But
Right.
To be able to have a trusted partner that I could call you, Ray, on a Sunday afternoon and say, do you know what? We have a customer that's down. And know that you, JP, and the rest of your team is there to jump on a call is what we need. And so having partnerships with an organization like Chorus, or a network consulting company, because again, we are pure play cybersecurity consulting, and we don't do anything else. So those partnerships and trusted partnerships and like minds are very important to me, but our entire team.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, we have a very similar philosophy. I think that's why we've hit it off pretty well. Well, we are running up against time, couple minutes, but is there anything that you're thinking you might want to close with and just chat about before we end our time together?
Sure. One of the things we didn't talk about is vendor risk management. And I think it's interesting because when we first started out, or I first started out, it was like pushing a boulder up the mountain, having in cyber or information or data security, whatever you want to call it, was a cost center. And what we've seen over the past 4 to 5, 6 years is that instead of a cost center, it actually has ROI now. It's ROI from a customer perspective to make that sale. For the salesperson of an organization, a lot of times they need to be able to fill out the questionnaire saying that your organization is doing the right things. They have the firewall, the endpoint, doing the pen tests, all those different things that are in place. And that helps your salesperson close business. The other component is cyber insurance. There's a lot of requirements that are going on right now. And if you put the right pieces in play, not only are you going to keep your cyber insurance, but your premiums are going to go down. So I think that is kind of the golden nugget of why to invest in cybersecurity, besides reputation and loss of business and all that type of stuff as well.
Interesting. Okay, cool. Well, Michelle, I really appreciate your time today. Was very valuable and a good conversation. It's always good to chat with you. And again, I'm Ray Beken with Chorus Consulting, and this is Michelle Drolet from Towerwall Incorporated. She is the CEO and founder. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Peace.
You've been tuning into Voices of Tech and Litigation with your host, Ray Beken. You can find this show on all the major platforms, including YouTube, LinkedIn, Facebook, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and on our website, chorusconsulting.net. Thank you for your positive reviews, comments, questions, and for sharing this show with others.